time for the finals Pro Play Summit in Denver, Colorado. We have Sky on the top seed. He'll be going first versus Doug. Underway Amber Steel mirror match. But there are some texts. We can kind of point those cards out as they come around.
We looked at that before here. And so we have the deck list. And so a lot of things, I did say we have Aurora. So that's a little hint here. It's a lot of these decks, so Amber Steel, the story of it, it used to be called Amber Steel Song. We had to jettison the song part of it. And it's something that's kind of interesting because we're going to see some cards here that are the same in both decks. And that is going to be the Aurora. But what changes, one of these decks is lovingly called, I don't know if it's actually, but Troubadour Tuesdays. And the reason it's called Troubadour Tuesdays is because it has a troubadour. And I find that interesting because a lot of times, we had interviewed this guy a couple times, and he mentioned that when people see troubadour, they go, wait, what? Because they're like, but song gone. So why song if no song? But there's value, and it performed quite well today because having that ability to sing on your turn 3
for sure
can be monumental. But there's other play lines here. What else do you think is fascinating between these two decks?
One thing, again, you're pointing out that Troubadour is a great point, being able to sing on the draw before your opponent can sing Strength, because that's typically where this mirror match comes down to. Strength of a Raging Fire. We're going to watch that. We're going to watch the Pete's game referee. Both the Lumineers are playing 3 copies of their card in the deck. One card, I think, that's going to give Sky a slight advantage. He's playing Fire the Cannons. Doug does not have a copy of that card in his build, but Sky does, and that could be one of those difference maker type cards. But looking at Doug's deck, he does have access to more of the bodyguard type. If you get into a position where Sky has to abandon the aggro strategy and get more into a combative role, those bodyguards could come in and do some heavy lifting to probably send Doug over the top. So Doug's trying to be on the draw, trying to turn the corner as quickly as he can, as Sky's going to do what Sky does best, get these cards down early, get them exerted, and try to win first.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting because these players are kind of, they're true to these deck pairing. I mean, it's very exciting to see because we saw some players, notably Habibi from Enter the Battlefield, abandon Amber Steel. He said, songs, I'm out. But these players said, no, I'm going to see it through. I'm going to see what we can do here. And the answer is there's lots of very fun play lines. I mean, we talk about the hamster and ball, Rhino, the shift package is in one deck, isn't in the other. Sky has a little tell on his wrist. He has a bracelet from Courtney of Enchanted Chatters that says Sven. And we're going to see Sven at different counts here. We do have Sven 4 in the Doug's deck, but we have 2 in Sky's deck. And Sven is a great one at kind of changing the math, readying something and saying, listen, I can sing, I can ready, I can do. So there's lots of versatility, but shout out to Courtney for those friendship bracelets, although quite a tell. I like that.
For sure, for sure. And I think that's another cool indicator of this format, of this game. Yeah, there are a lot of similar decks, similar strategies, but you can see that you can go a variety of different ways and build them and tech them in your own special way, and they can give you advantages in certain regards. These decks are very similar, but they have so many differences, and they both seem to have worked because both of these players are in the finals as the alter phases are happening. Sky, thinking about how he wants to do it, maybe those are the cards. Is the hand keep or send back?
I'll never know. I always get it wrong, and I'm like, well, but he's looking here, sending back 5. And, you know, I know for a fact that I've talked about with these players about mulliganing. It was one thing I like to talk about quite a bit. And he is definitely a player that says, listen, there's cards I know I need and cards I don't need. And he's definitely a get the hand you want kind of player. You'll talk to players that are like, well, I'm keeping some rank, I'm keeping this. And both these players are trying to make sure they have a full few turns planned out. Or they're saying, well, if I don't have that, then I'll send it back, and it's probably in there.
And get it there. And sometimes that can be a punish, but again, you don't make it to the finals by not being in tune and locked in with your build, as you got to be confident. Sometimes I know when I send a ton back, I get a ton of non-inkable cards in return, and my whole game plan just falls
and you say,
to pieces
well,
immediately.
Good game. I hope you enjoy going to nationals. But no, in this case, this is a deck where uninkability is a cheaper deck. It's a low budget. You see Blurple absolutely being so stressed out when they have uninkable cards. Like, what do I do? But in this case, we have some exciting cards. We have Aurora in the Aurora room. Shout out to Aurora, Colorado, and Aurora. We have Daisy. We've got that dock, which is such an important. One thing I talked before this match, I said this is going to be a tale of removal and card draw because you're going to need those Strength of Raging Fires. You're going to use them wisely, and then you're going to need to use your cannons. One person has it, the other, and then you need to fill that hand back up. If one person is doing it and the other one isn't, problem.
That is it. If you're getting to a point where you cannot extend, and that's a great point, Katie. Those docks. That's going to be something I'm looking out for. Keeping track of who is getting those really obnoxious character doxing strength plays. Get more cards. Those plays make me want to just walk out of the venue when they happen, and they will happen. I'm sure both of these players have been pulling those off a lot. So whoever can get those types of super high roll type things may come on top. And when skill is a little bit equal, whoever get a better card is typically going to come out and head here.
And shout out to Doug. He's a 16th seed. We talked a lot about bubble math, and I'll never stop talking about it for it's my favorite type of math. And he got the 16th seed, and now here he is in the finals, who, no matter what happens, he's getting the top 2. He's getting that Elsa Ice Maker. So shout out to pit players that play out the entire day and grind out, because that 16 seed, it counts the same as all the other seeds as far as being in the top.
Absolutely. Isn't that a good feeling? That's such a good story, man. Because a lot of times you're still playing that little bubble math game going into the top cut. You're like, oh, did I make it? Did I make it? And yeah, you made it, and you're just on borrowed time at that point, because you could have been bubbled out of there just based on fractions of a point here, and now you are sitting at the finals across from one of the hotter players in Digital Lorcana right now. Like I said, Sky has been on the road. He's been traveling, driving all over the countryside.
A vagabond.
We're talking east, west, north, south. He's truly indicative of that pro player title. Someone who is about their action every single week on the road, playing in another full-scale tournament and converting, Katie.
Yeah, I mean, pro player, more like a go player. So, sorry, I don't know. This is my first. I'm using all the jokes I would have done all day. It's right here.
Okay.
But here we go. We're deciding. And now, I did another piece of intel, because we have interviewed Sky twice, was that he mentioned the first turn is when he usually takes the longest, because he's doing the thing we might have seen in the Marvel movie where we see Doctor Strange doing all permutations. That's what's happening here, because there's different play lines. We have the hamster situation, the going wide. We have a Mulan there where you can choose and discard a card.
For sure.
So you really have to be careful, because how you open, it's the foundation, and it's hard. I mean, it's going to set the tone for everything.
How you open is how you live. As we are untimed, as this could be one of the more important turns. What you put down to your inkwell, I like that a lot. How you open is how you live. That's a new metaphor for life. And while guys think about that, I want to give another special shout out to all the judges here in the venue right now. I see Phil in the background doing his thing. He's been doing a phenomenal job running this event, making sure it goes smooth, and all the other judges behind the scenes. Huge shout out to our judge community for making this event very special. There were some obstacles, but we got through them, and the judges were there every step of the way, making this thing an absolute memorable experience for everyone who's been here today. So huge shout out to them.
Yeah, and I did make a giggle because I did see someone in the chat go, aggro mirror, worst matchup ever.
I
worst
love it.
right away,
I
they
love
didn't wait for the cards to be
Didn't
played,
even-
and they're
not
already
a-
upset the
I love
aggro's
it.
here.
Not even.
And good. I think that's how you know you're doing well. If you don't have any haters, that means possibly you're not doing well. So shout out to aggro for having a little bit, because honestly, this is not what we saw last weekend. We did see in Ink there was a Amber Seal that took down, but I mean the tops. The conversion rate's quite interesting, right? Because this is not the most popular deck in the room. So I am interested to see at the end of this weekend. This wasn't the most popular deck. I think it was the third most popular. However, it is now highly represented in the top. I think there was at least 3, possibly 4. So that's something to note. Conversion rate's important. We say Blurple was oppressive, but it was also very present.
Absolutely. I think, do they know that they're clear to start? Because Sky is looking very relaxed.
Well, he just looked at his Happy Meal and put it on top. That is a little Happy Meal right there.
I don't think someone that lets them know they are clear to begin the game, because this is a very deep thing for a turn 1.
To be fair, I hope he is sitting in it. I hope he's in the tank, the deepest. He's in the deep tank. He's with Hades in the underworld on this play
They do know
mat.
that they can play. Okay, they are.
The players are going to play. Don't worry, guys.
All
right. Well, okay. Listen, okay. He said, let me think about this. Actually, to be fair, that was longer. He's like, you do have to take a long time. That long? Question.
Okay.
So shout out to really thinking. Never let anyone feel like if it's untimed. Wow.
I thought he was really doing some straight up Magnus Carlsen type beats.
He starts staring at the ceiling and doing Queen's Gambit math.
My goodness.
But now Doug can take equally as long. It is untimed, so if he wants to take 10 minutes, sure he can.
And he'll shout out to Doug for just sitting there like,
what a
chilling.
hero.
Like, bro, I would have been like, hey, dude, what are you doing, man?
This is a strategy.
Let's go, man.
This is the Maelstrom Storm brewing.
Come on, man.
like,
Are you
let me
trying to psych me out? Are you trying to get in my head?
Put me in the lore lab.
And now Doug is taking that much time as well. I love it.
He deserves it because honestly,
for
fair.
sure.
But we see Aurora turn 1 in the Aurora Room in Aurora, Colorado, and that's rough, guys. We went from an Aurora to a Epic Aurora.
Epic Aurora, and I'm proud of you, Katie. You didn't call it an iconic.
I stopped. You
did
heard a
not
pause.
call it an iconic, and I'm so thankful that you did that.
Not all heroes wear casting uniforms, but here we go. So now that Aurora is quite nice. She is kind of like a lantern we used to see, where she gives that discount, but it's only to princesses and queen. But there are a lot of princesses hanging around this in combo.
The main one is going to be that Tiana restaurant owner. We've seen Aurora into Tiana, and that is a powerful play to get that Tiana down a little bit sooner. 3-cost character, and she has her amazing ability to not be able to be challenged. We're going to go Aurora into Aurora. Thoughts?
This is the Princess Court here. We're having Court, and he is going to go ahead and go really wide, which is interesting because we know removal's at a premium for Doug. So this wideness is now super discount. We got the discount double check here with 2 Auroras. We have Daisy, who's a problem, and then Mulan, who's like, well, I can deal 2 damage if I need to.
For sure. And a little bit of stat line. And next turn, you can exert both of those Auroras, get that Tiana down for 1 ink, and then play another character, and then you're setting yourself up for some potential Doc shenanigans later on. So this board is getting massive. Let's see if Doug can match that same energy. Being on the draw, you're going to need something cool to happen, because now even a Strength of a Raging Fire, hard played, could be a back-breaking maneuver as well. So this thing is kind of, as crazy as it sounds, kind of getting not out of reach, but this is looking problematic.
It is, and I think that's something where the one thing Doug can be happy about is sometimes you're playing a game and you look at your hand and you're like, I'm going to go so wide. And they're like, wait, where'd my cards go?
No, come on,
so that is something where we need Doc.
True.
If you can hear me, it's Doc o'clock. It's time to clock in. And Doug knows that, because Doug has 2 things he has to do. He has to keep up the pace, but also respond. And that's one of the things about the play-draw disparity is it's kind of, are you chasing? Are you being chased? And right now, Sky's sitting with his Happy Meal and saying, you can come after me. I'm not afraid. And if he is, he's not going to show it.
I'm fairly confident that one of those cards in Sky hand has to be the Doc, because I've only seen them never not have it one time. And that was an anomaly, like some autumnal equinox, lunar eclipse type beats. You know, they just didn't have it. They always have it. And we're going to see if you can manage to, if you can make a Doc play here and just get this board even more massive as this Mulan comes down.
Interesting. It's kind of we talk about what these turns telegraph. Sometimes it's nothing, right? Like sometimes it's truly just like, I'm playing cards, stop. But sometimes if you're playing a Mulan on turn 2, you're like, help, I need something. And both players did do that, so it could mean absolutely nothing. But the speed he's playing makes me think that he's now saying, I need to find certain things to respond to what's happening, to make sure that this is not that we saw Quattro Tianas last match. We saw 4 Tianas on board.
Yeah.
So he's saying, I know Sky's up to just the most princessy problems.
I'm telling you right now, he does discard the Tiana though. So that's interesting. And I'm looking at these decks. It looks like Doug's deck is a little bit more beautiful than Sky's deck. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how you win, right? Because I mean, sometimes you are not doing so well, but when you top deck a card you can't play, but it's enchanted, it counts for something, right? But in this case, we see a difference maker here. This is a card that Sky does not have, Mr. Arrow of Treasure Planet, and he is a little bit interesting. He quests for 2. He's got resist, and he is going to be great at fighting this horde of princesses and ducks.
That's a lot of princesses. You said correct, Katie. We're going to get that Aurora questing, bringing down a Mulan for free to get another shakeup.
Yeah, they're both doing it.
Increasing our board position a little bit stronger. Mr. Arrow notably can also survive that fire the cannon with his resist.
Truby Two Steps. It's not called that. Truby Tuesday is going down into the inkwell before he has. Well, he's not. He actually went back up. Probably because I said called him Truby Two Steps, and he's like, that's not a card.
That's not my name.
Yeah. First off, please read the deck list submitted. But we will go ahead and choose and discard the Daisy. I think he forgot to do that. And then we go ahead.
There it is.
And there's Doc o'clock, and we're all clocked in.
You would never don't have it. There was always going to be a Doc there every single time as the Daisy duck down into the discard pile. Do you begin to quest here, Katie? Would you send these glimmers on that mission, or would you hold for another turn?
Well, that's the big difference maker between these players and me. I'm quested. I'm questing every time, and then I get punished because I am a silly Billy. And we have a Mulan. We have a Mr. Arrow. I believe Mr. Arrow is a 3/2. So you can quest, but it might be...
No, Mr. Arrow's a 1/2.
1/2. Okay. Well,
he's a little weak.
Never mind. I misread that, and honestly, that's on me. That foils get me. But I will say that you could, but a lot of players wait for that Tiana. So it kind of depends. Did he get to Tiana? Because if he does, he's probably going to keep it upright, wait for one more turn, get maybe another turn, because Tiana does have to be exerted. So it's difficult, because honestly, like, are you waiting for that, or is it just time to start going and hope that it all works out?
Or a bodyguard as well. I think a bodyguard could be nice. Granted, you do have this massive board. You're probably waiting on one of your Strength of a Raging Fire setups that you can do. You don't have a singer down. Maybe you can establish the Pete. Maybe get a bodyguard going. You can sing the Strength, and then you start the quest. Or, like you said, it could be, I'm not sure if it's time to go. And that's one of the issues that I have when I'm playing these aggro decks. And a lot of new up-and-coming aggro players might run into those same things as well. Is when is it time to start questing?
Yeah.
And if you just do it too early, you'll lose your board and you'll lose the game shortly in short order. So there is some skill expression in playing this aggressive strategy.
And it's something where it takes that ability where some people call it intuition. I am going to challenge all the players that say it's intuition. It is, you've practiced so much that it's become programmed into your brain of what's the good thing and what's bad. But that's why I say these YouTube videos that players do. Oh, so we get ahead and get, I think that was a John Silver in the hand, but who could tell? We'll find out momentarily. But these players, you're standing on the shoulders of giants when when players make interviews, content, metaphys, things like that, because they've tested more than you have. So it's kind of interesting to hear why they quest and when they do. Here, we see some questing, possibly because, like you said, that is their arrow. not so scary. Mulan's maybe a little scary, but loser, why not?
Right.
So
And you
it's
don't
not so bad.
and not having that singer set up, and we will go ahead and make a trade here to prevent that Tiana from coming down for a cheaper retail value. You still can play it for full retail value just by inking another card, but at least taking some of that tempo away by questing, play the Tiana, play another one-cost character, and kind of even this board up a little bit. So I don't hate that challenge at all coming in from Sky. But now it's on Doug to still figure out a way to kind of turn this corner. You are kind of falling behind in board position, but neither player has played a Strength of a Raging Fire yet, and that could be one of those difference makers. You need a big turn here from Doug.
Exactly. It's the where are your docks, where are your strengths? And call a doctor. I need some strength. But I will say that I love that you pointed out that Sky had a devastating loss this weekend. He's a token player. There's players that use tokens, and this weekend something that we got information. Tokens are not allowed, and I've never seen a discard pile put more. Just absolutely banished to the Shadow Realm.
I believe that is a form of protest.
It is.
That has to be a form of protest.
I cannot get confused. Please, I'm scared.
Because everybody in the game is always going to put their discard pile beside their deck.
It is legally, not legally, but it's canonically.
That is where it is. And traditionally, that is historically where the discard pile has gone. Somewhere in proximity to the deck, Sky, notorious token user, is going to say, I do not support these rules. I will put my discard pile in the far eastern side of my board while I keep my deck in the west.
All sorts of, we're telegraphing a few things. If I know someone's a token or using tokens, they've probably played Sapphire at some point in their life. And then also marking the hand, this man has eaten at McDonald's. So we're learning a lot here. He doesn't want to lose track of his hand. He's scared he doesn't have tokens, and he's loving it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen this man, what he can do to a double cheeseburger.
You've seen such
I've
things.
seen him on the stream with Luke Wonderland.
Yes.
And they were supposed to be playing Lorcana, just sitting there smashing double cheeseburgers.
The proximity of those burgers to the cards.
A mukbang. I hate it. The greasiness.
It's honestly haunting.
Let's clean it up, guys.
And here's a card that we talked about before this match privately. It is Jafar, which gives Challenger. And that's something where, we don't, I think I called it like homebrew removal because, at the end of the day, he only has 4 strengths. We've lost a lot of targeted steal removal. But this is something that you don't necessarily see it coming in the sense that it's not something people are generally planning for. But this is the worst thing that can happen at Disney Lorcana, and we're going to talk about it right now. What was that?
Talk to him, Katie.
Yeah, this is the worst thing where it's a dock in lady, which you get to do something for free, and that free thing is a dock, which gives you 2 cards. It's egregious. People cry. It actually has broken apart several families this week. What do you do when you see that?
I trim a little bit because in that last turn, that was a really cool play that you were able to make with the Jafar coming down and with the arrow being able to resist the strength of Aurora to clear the board a little bit, put another 2 questing 3-string character down to help combat this board, and then something like that happens, and you're like, man, I'm back in the mud again, and it's just making it more and more difficult to get around this corner as we get another question too. It is that Peace Game referee, so first singer available. It seems, as we're continuing to quest these glimmers right now, pushing our Lord total all the way up to 9.
Yeah, and it's becoming egregious because now that Jafar that came in, I believe it's only when he enters play. So it's kind of a one-time special. Now, he does keep questing for 2. He does challenge for 2, or challenge for 3. It could be wrong because something's happening with me being able to read that number right now. But I will say that that's hard.
He quests for 2, 3-string. Oh, he is a 3-cost character, so he will be able to sing if needed.
True.
If you can flood here, if you can go a multitude of 1-cost characters, maybe 1-cost, 2-cost character sing, that could be enough to slow Sky down a little bit. He is still holding on to some real estate in hand, arms crossed, staring down Doug, who's looking at a nice little bouquet of Disney Lorcana cards in his own personal grip. You're falling behind in the lore total.
Yeah, and I see some people in chat saying scoop. No, this is untimed. There's literally no reason to scoop unless you're like, I don't want to. You can always scoop if you don't want to, but this is not a time. This is, in fact, the number one time you don't need to scoop is an untimed finals of a tournament.
Just play it. Just play it. You never know. Sky could just completely forget how to play the game.
Start
he just
saying, know what, I should go to McDonald's.
Yeah, he may get hungry, you know what I'm saying? Just quit and protest. That could always happen. So you always want to finish the drill here, especially in the untimed round. You're in the finals, for crying out loud. Anything can happen. Hand is chock full. That's one good thing you got going for you. If you can manage to string together some 1-cost characters and sing a song, you can kind of claw your way back into this thing.
Exactly. And that's one of the benefits of running these steel decks. We've seen it in Amethyst Steel with Thiago last weekend at CCS, and we're seeing it here, is that the benefit of these little guy decks is that you can go wide, you can rebuild. Now, the rebuilding is all dependent on the fact that you had the resources to do so. You haven't been in a place where you're like, hey, Sky, can you stop that? Which Doug has been doing this whole time, is going, hey, stop. And it's good because you can recover. You can recover in a way that a lot of decks can't. Blurple can't really go wide again. It loses that tempo. So Doug has an ability, and that's kind of what he's thinking through here. Is he's got his cards, we can't see them, but I imagine he's just trying to mind his resources in the best way possible to really turn this corner, as we call it in the business.
The corner. I want to see this metaphorical corner. So I wanted to come up with a podcast called The Corner, and
this is the corner.
And we're turning the corner or something like that. I don't know.
Turning the corner with Kaylee and JDZ.
There we go. Hey, we are turning the corner right now as the Pete Games referee is going to come down, and now you do have that ability to be able to sing a little bit of Strength of Raging Fire if you got it. Certainly, someone's going to play Strength here sooner or later.
Yeah, I mean, the Pete is such an interesting card, and you can see something shocking. Both these decks. This is not a 4-up. This is a 3-up. And it shows that Pete is just a trickier card right now. Pete used to be Value City. We knew. Be prepared. I see you. We knew Steel Song was just singing songs all the time. Stop it. But now songs, not so common. And here we go. We're cleaning up the board. Mr. Arrow into Mulan, getting rid of one of the docks. And it's enough. It's cleaning. It's keeping you in the game.
Yeah, and that did take down some of that expanse that Sky had. It was quite wide. You have now outflanked a little bit, and now Sky is going to be needing to rebut a little bit back now and see if you can potentially sing Strength. Even though P is going to protect your board from Strength this time, you got to add. Now you need to add a couple more characters yourself. So the onus is back on Sky. Another dock here, and if I'm Doug, I'm walking out of the venue.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? One dock, okay. Listen, that's your right.
Cool.
It's your right to do a dock.
You're
docks,
owed
all
that.
right. You're the nice. I was a lady dock, which is arguably worse. The 3 docks, I'm calling my therapist. I'm calling my lawyer. I'm calling the authorities.
I'm telling the story to everyone who's going to be willing to listen.
Yeah, Bad Beats, my podcast, Bad Beats. I started it for this game.
Turning the Corner, episode 1. We have Bad Beats. Hey, he docked me multiple times. And caller number 5, you are off. Pete is going to go down into the inkwell.
There
and
she is.
Tiana and the Troubadour.
Truby Two-Step has entered the building. Now, he's got not Truby Two-Step. Truby Tuesday is here. So the big question is can he sing? Probably not. I mean, that's the thing is, like, he can, and it's a very powerful play. But you know what he is? He's a body with resist. And resist is another thing we've talked about many times this weekend that is incredibly valuable. It changes the math. Support changes the math. Resist changes the math.
Absolutely.
And this is a very powerful card.
Resist has kind of fallen down in favor of the metagame. I can't really think. I'm pretty sure I'm about to get proven absolutely wrong. But is there a tried and true resist strategy that is kind of being played right now? I don't see much resist at all.
We've seen it creep in, right? Because we've seen it with Nala. We've seen it with
Nala.
I mean, Arrow, Troubadour, and then I think there's a few other steel. It's a very steely kind of card. It's Mr. Steal Your Damage.
I know a lot of the better resist cards kind of got rotated out of the game. I like to see resist come back, especially in this challenge, Banish challenge metagame that we're in, as this board is looking massive. Holy moly,
you say
that's
massive.
a lot.
I call it Lorthel. Liam is somewhere screaming in the background because every time he hears Lorthel, it takes a year off his life. I'm sorry, I said it twice. Ugh.
I like Lorthel.
I think it's quite fun.
I think it's working its way in, and no one has emailed me and told me to stop saying it.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Let a kid have fun. Let these kids play. Let them have fun. But now Doug has what's called a really tough job because we look at what's upright, what's sideways. We have Tiana and Troubadour sideways. So that's just 3 that's going to be hard to take care of. Now we do know we have strength. So basically we're saying how much can we clean up? Can we get rid of all 5? Do we want to start with the sideways ones? And he has a pretty full hand here. His hand is the one of the 5 cards?
That's a lot of cards in hand. And I don't know if there is a confirmed Strength of Raging Fire. No one has played one this game yet. But Sky's position is looking very comfortable. He's got the arm crossed, looking very relaxed, laser focused, staring down the opposition as Doug is kind of doing the poker-style shuffle with the white sleeves, beautiful white sleeves. Maybe they are Player's Choice sleeves. I don't know. Huge shout out to Player's Choice for sponsoring this event.
But not shout out to white sleeves for people who have to count how much ink you have.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my eyes. Now, Sky's doing the delicate edge chewing. We're seeing him look up briefly. What are your thoughts on how much you should be staring at your opponent?
I try. Usually I'm a very confident person. But I do everything in my power to not look at my opponent in tight situations. I just can't do it.
It's
too much. They look at me.
I avoid eye contact all the time.
I can't.
So of course, in a high-pressure situation, I'm like, now it's time to do it.
Especially if I'm winning and I know I'm going and I'm pretty confident with my position, I can't even look at him. I feel so sad.
Yeah. Now,
but happy for myself.
Internally. I feel it coming. I feel like someone's going to say, go to game 2. But like I said, this is the finals. This is something where you can think. One of these players. Sorry, the little shaking of the McDonald box here. One of these players is going to get a national invite.
Yes.
This is their day, okay? I don't think they're after this. They're like, well, now I'm going to play in another tournament. Like, they might, but no, because I think the sealed is already off and I'm running. So this is their day. This is the biggest thing they have going on today. So I definitely am with Doug here, where it's like, listen, there's got to be something. I got it. And it's also who's blocking who's surviving the challenge, who is able to keep that value, because you want to, all these turns, do as much and keep as much value as possible so that the
For
next
sure.
turn you retain it and keep that momentum. So
Yeah,
he's doing
I think
that.
your survivability has to be high, utmost in your mind. So you have to be able to at least remove 6 lore from the board. That's step number 1. And then you have to be able to try to present some other threat to remove more lore. I think you got to get the Tiana off. If you could, I just don't think there is a way to do it. I think your characters are too weak unless you have another one of those Jafars to kind of bolster some of your challenging capabilities here. This is looking rough, and I think Sky is in a pretty comfortable position to send it on into a game number 2. So on the play, doing exactly what your deck's designed to do. Get down low, spin it, dock, lady dock, send it to the next round.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen it both ways, right? We say play to your outs. We say, play as much as you want to. But the other thing is, too, sometimes you're like, I'm personally done, and I want to get to that game, too. We did see Sky on the play here. Doug will be on the play if he goes ahead and scoops or if he does take this loss in game 1. So sometimes players, we saw it yesterday, Shane, who was one of our bounty players, he scooped so early that people are like, what?
Yeah.
But the answer is, your deck, your tolerance, and it's all about what's most important to you. What do you think can happen? He's got a lot of cards. It's not like this is a man who's top decking. He has options, so here we go. He's going to start.
And again, an untimed round is very important to just try to see it through because you'd hate to be on your car ride back home and then you're like, oh man, I wish I would have just did this, and it hits you some mark of inspiration that you could have had something happen differently and put yourself in a different spot. So you never want to just give it up. As you do, you're able to remove the enough lore from the board to kind of sustain yourself a bit. And you're able to develop another character as the guard dog. Pluto is going to come down, notably not in guard dog mode.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, right? Because you have to make the decision of what's most important. I don't think he's afraid of Sky challenging right now. I don't think anything about Doug's life is saying, you know what Sky's probably going to start fighting me. I'm at 1 lore, and I think he's afraid. So he's saying, I need to keep my resources. He's saying, you're worth more to me upright than you are sideways.
Absolutely.
And he said, please don't dock. Please don't do it. I swear I'll cry. He's hamstring ball.
That is a great card to come off top of that deck. That hamster is insane off the top because now you're going to have to really figure out a way to deal with this problematic character. And I just don't think there's a card in you need a huge strength.
Yeah, huge. Well, and strength would technically, you need one more character and a strength freezing fire, but still it's kind of okay, but now you have 3 other cards, right? So that was really, it was a great time for Sky. Doug was definitely in that kind of chasing mode. And as people are pointing out in the chat, Sky has been running around the country, running around, doing pretty well in Gig. But I'm sure Doug, I mean, look, he's here. So obviously he's been putting in a lot of time. So we know that Sky's in the Maelstrom, but we got the Lore Lab. And I'm sure they're cooking up a lot of hot things. And I think we're going to see it in game 2. That's my prediction.
Yeah, Doug, a.k.a. Dab Sense in the building. I just did another dab off screen.
I know, guys. We actually dabbed 40 times.
Yeah, and he's trying
to keep doing it the opposite direction and hitting each other. So it's good you can't see it. We need to coordinate more. Are you going dabbing left or are you dabbing right?
I will be always dabbing internally. Left arm going out, dabbing
we could
the
external's cool because it kind of looks like a Team Rocket sort of situation.
That's pretty cool. I like that scenario.
Shout out to the chat for supporting. We see lots of friends of I always want to say friends of the show. What show? Every show. If you're in here, you're a friend of the show. So shout out to all 1,056 people for saying, listen, it's Sunday. I just want to watch some boys play some cards. And that's what you're doing. So thank you to everyone supporting this wonderful finals.
And on top of that, Katie, get out there and tell your friends, okay? Where are they at and why are they not here?
It's not like they're not real friends.
If you are following the Disney Lorcana game, you need to be right here, right now. This is the finals. This is game number 2. Sky is 1 win away from Destiny and punching his ticket to the national tournament, while Doug says, I will not be denied. I am on the approach this time. And maybe you can get one of those fantastic starts that Sky got last time. Notably, we didn't see any strength of Raging Fire. We didn't see any Tiana shenanigans.
We
did see some docks. We did mention that. There
2 docks. We said, who's going to have the docks? And Sky said, I have 2.
Sky got the dock and clean your clock.
Dock. And he cleared the clock. It's untimed. But either way, I will always be dabbing internally, has been quoted in the chat. But yeah, someone just said, I believe Doug will overcome. And that is a face of a man who's like, listen, I was 16th seed. I've been fighting my whole life. All I do is fight. And I'm not going to give up. And so I think this is very exciting. Now, we have seen, I think this is a fun anecdote. There was a appearance of a pair of sunglasses, very illustrious. JDZ did do some testing with Sky. I saw you testing that they are too reflective to wear on stream.
I like your. I don't want to steal your joke, but I think if you would just deliver that of what should have happened. Please, okay. So here.
Okay, so everybody looks a little bit. We've got bucket hats, we got things, and so Sky was wearing the glasses, and he's like, "Well, I can't because people can see my hand," which apparently is bad. And I said, "Well, what you should do is tell players, hey guys, did you know there's Dumbo in these sunglasses?" And they get really close house, and then it's reflected, and they go, they're the Dumbo. And that seems like something Sky would do. He seems like a kind of guy that really wants to get in the heads of his opponent, really wants to razz him, rib him. But either way, no sunglasses, because apparently it's not good for your opponent. Because JDC said, I can't see your hand, but I do see your rhino. So that was already like, okay, well, all right.
Absolutely. I think that would have been pretty good. I think it would almost been worth it. Giving up a little bit of intelligence to psychologically invade your opponent's mind palace might be worth
And to
the
make a
disadvantage.
Dumbo joke, honestly, anytime you get a chance to do a little Disney Lorcana bit,
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I want puns, and I think we deserve it. I think we deserve it as a community. Don't let anyone ever stop you. If someone rolls their eyes at their pun, they're not a friend.
Yeah, they're not a real one. They're not a real one.
No.
All the real ones out there in the
All
building.
the real ones live. All my friends love puns, and if they don't, well, sounds like I get it. But here we go. We are looking at our hands. We are planning 40 turns in advance. We're playing the whole game in our head right now. Hopefully this time they let him get started. But it is up to Doug this time. Doug can take as long as he wants. Did he? No. Okay, I thought he full cap.
I think it's into full
It was
send.
full send.
Full send. We
That
want them
is-
all out of there.
And then we look like Sky drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
so
so
that
both
was some
players-
unhappy players saying, no, do better. Deck.
Both players sending hard. I think that's going to be a crazy match as both players didn't get the optimal cards that they wanted. So they're going to send a lot of cards back to their decks, getting those shuffles in. I like this patent pending look away coming in from Doug as Sky is doing the look down as well.
What's going on over there?
I like that. I enjoy that. It gives me a little peace of mind.
What shall I have for dinner tonight? And either way, you can have as much ice as you want with that Elsa ice maker. Yeah, whatever. I'm doing my best here. Not so good. But man, I am so excited for this game because somebody said like, oh, I think they're trying to be nice when they say they wanted to go to game 3. Listen, obviously Sky wants it to be done. He wants to clock out and just walk around with that trophy on and be like, I got a trophy. But game 3 is fun for everyone because it's as a caster, as a human, I think it's fun when a player gets to be like, guess what? I can play Lorcana.
For sure.
I never want to be like, I want this Doug to win, but it is something where, I like when people are happy. But here we go. We're starting with a nice opening here, massaging the hand a little bit further because he did send back a full 7 and saying, what if we send back one more?
And get another cycle in, and hopefully you can find something cool. But to that point, Katie, if I'm ever in the broadcast booth, I'm always going to be rooting for a game number 3.
Yeah,
I think
it doesn't matter who's playing, right?
no matter who's playing, I'm very unbiased. I just want more, okay? And I love the intrigue. And a game number 3, there's nothing more important than game number 3. So I am kind of leaning Doug on this one, but if Sky gets it done, history is going to be made today as the cannons to the left of me, cannons to the right of me, volley, and Thunder takes down the Mulan.
Yeah, he says right away, done. You're done. Get out of this town, which is interesting because we know that the cannons are very valuable. Now, Mulan kind of gets her ability. She already did her thing, but she can challenge and she can go wide. So in this case, he said, I am going to fire the cannons. Now, let's look. Did he have any other 1-drops?
No.
So,
I can't tell, but we ink the arrow, play the arrow, kick it over. Is there more? Do you have another 2-cost characters? Another big power hamster is going to be on the in the right side there. We can't quite make out the hand. I don't see a 2-cost character in Sky's possession right now.
yeah, so it's very possible that cannon, because he has 2 choices. He can say, I'm going to save it for later, or just say, you know what, why not start now? In this case, he did go ahead and elect to play. It doesn't look like he had a 1-drop unless I missed it being inked. And then we see this Nala.
Oh, there it is.
And a shout out to cards that get into the meta right away. And Nala was an instant add to this deck for many players because she has no damage. She gets +1 lore and +1 resist, which, as we know, dealing damage is not so easy. Sometimes people run dungeon tracks. We haven't seen it. I don't think anyone does anymore. I think that was a meme. But either way, it's very hard to get 1 damage just on there loosey-goosey. And right now, Nala's probably going to get that 3 quest in or stay around for at least a little while.
And you got to put some character on the board to be able to combat this Nala because right now that Mr. Arrow cannot effectively engage in combat with this Nala, notably. And the Tiana can't either. So Nala looks like you're going to be able to quest once and then maybe even quest again unless you get a Fire to Cannons to get ripped off the top. And this Tiana will be able to sting it quite effectively. Beautiful enchanted art there coming from that Tiana.
I love it. Every set I say, I think I'm done. I don't think I need any more enchantments. I think I'm good. And I keep cracking boosties and foaming at the mouth at them. So beautiful enchanted. And I love seeing her get her flowers. I love when a card, people are like, they're like, it's not good. Who needs it? And then this is a card where people early were like, we got to get the Tianas in here. And I think after this weekend, I'm not a financial advisor, but I don't think Tiana's going to drop in price after this match.
No chance. That is no chance because everyone is going to be watching the events that take place here, and they're going to be looking at these top meta reports. And I think Tiana is a huge part of our metagame. I think the card is very important. I think what she does, she presents a very interesting problem set. I don't think it's so broken or busted to the point where it needs to be banned or curtailed in any way, but it is. And we got Tiana on Tiana.
He says, you know what I like? I like Tiana. And so I love that when there's a card. It's interesting because there's certain cards in certain metas where it's an instant 4 of. Like, for example, Pete used to be an instant 4 of. Obviously, he's not anymore. The meta shifted, and now it's how many do you think you need right now? But right now, Tiana is on that gravy train. Is there gravy in the background? Tough to say, but she is on that you must include. So Nala goes ahead, gets that little quest in, and we are chugging along. And this is definitely... I don't think Sky is having as much fun as he did in game one because now Doug is kind of having the everything.com. And we see that with a strength, which everybody was like, where is it? And it turns out he found it. He found the strength.
And it turns out that lady card happens to be pretty good, okay? This card right here, you're talking about broken cards. You're talking about cards that are actually insane. This lady card is bonkers, insane, busted, broken, beyond repair. And now you have the bodyguard Tiana Vice set up. So now if you want to get to the Tiana, you have to clear the bodyguard. You want to get to the bodyguard, you got to get to the Tiana. They work hand in hand, great in tandem. I know a lot of Luminaries have been trying these bodyguard characters. What do you think about these 05 bodyguards, 04 bodyguards?
It's interesting, right? Because a lot of times they were good because they paired very well with Rapunzel gifted with healing. She's not here. She went to Infinity. She's in a different castle right now. But I mean, it's very, I've heard it called the challenging meta. And if you have to challenge people, then a bodyguard is quite good. We know that there's not many ways to get around it. We saw one fire the cannon in the Inkwell, or not Inkwell, but played. And then strength, we haven't seen a lot of them. So it's a good way to at least to say, I'm probably going to get some benefit at some point.
So now we're going back on over to Doug. If you play another character saying strength and evaporate this Rhino, you might be punching your ticket on to that patent pending game number 3 as we are. But if you cannot, that power hamster might be able to slowly start to swing this thing back into your favor. So here is the game. Do you have it? It's the peak.
And I think that's really bad. I think it's really good if you're Doug. Really bad if you are Sky, who's like, you know what? Maybe I'll get some strength. The hamster could sing it. I could go wide. That Pete is saying you cannot actually. And I love watching the body language of the players to kind of see like how do they feel when that goes down. Because all of them are doing that internal math. Sky is sitting at a cool 6. He's not like losing. In fact, some might call that ahead. But it is definitely a situation where that window gets smaller and smaller, and Doug is feeling better and better.
Absolutely. I think that is a great point. Sky is that, and that knowledge is proving how crazy that card is as well. You're able to quest for 3 each turn. You have this power hamster. And is there a world where you just try to leg it out? I mean, clearly if he exerts this Tiana, or if you I think you'd be remiss in your responsibility if you don't try to challenge into this Prince to get that bodyguard off, to start trying to put some hits on this Tiana.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of frustrating in the sense that I think both players know when you reach that point where you're like, I'm probably not going to win. But this is a time where you really don't ever scoop. It'd be kind of crazy to ever scoop. It'd be like, well, I'm up 6. I'm up 1. Time to scoop. So he has to kind of play this. But I don't know what's in his hand. He does, and he's thinking about it quite a lot. And I think he's just saying, okay, what is my best chance? And like you said, getting rid of that bodyguard and saying, that's done. Goodbye. I get to keep my hamster. That might be something he's interested in. But here he goes. He's going to go wide, which does open the door a tiny bit, but not a lot because Nala's notably not going to do anything.
Nala has no strength. Yeah, she's that 0-2. She does have resist, but even the power hamster, I forget that the Prince has a 0-5 stat line. So even the power hamster will not be able to single-handedly across that Prince, even if you pay the full Tiana troll toll. So you will be able to probably ready this board unless you have one of those fire to cannons, potentially.
Yeah, he's basically saying you'd have to have all the answers. You haven't had many this game. He's saying, like,
Wait, he can't even play any of that because he's got the peak game that came down this turn.
Yeah,
he's still,
so
this is
he's
just
like, so both the players are thinking through that. Now, Doug was doing the kind of thing of, do you quest out or not? Patience is a virtue with these kind of matches because ultimately he wouldn't win next turn. There's not really a way I think he can. There's no shift target. So no matter what, he can only get to 19 if Sky does nothing. And I doubt Sky will do nothing. But like you said, he can't do the strength. He can't do the cannons. And that is going to be pretty rough. So instead,
that's pretty good.
So that's going to go ahead and add resist to the Nala and also heal, but that didn't happen. So he passes and says, I got 1 more turn. Let's see how it goes. And now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on board. Also not Lorthal. So he's basically saying, I hope everything happens next turn that I needed to.
And how much is Sky pressuring there?
Looks like 8.
Sky has 9. So
that's 9 on board?
I believe. Let's got 2, 4, 6,
Nala.
8.
Nala, yeah.
Nala
Sorry.
is 9.
Yeah,
So
okay.
this is an outside game shot for Sky.
That
So
is,
this is going to
yeah.
force Doug into a challenge situation, and I think you have to get that Nala off. Nala's been showing why this is one of the better cards in
Exactly.
his deck.
And it shows, I mean, you guys saw it in real time because oftentimes you look at these cards over and over again and you're like, I see 2 symbols. That equals 2.
Mhm.
And I've heard players out there, they're like, I did not read that card right, or I forgot that thing. And that happens literally all the time. Now, will it happen here? No. Because, I mean, obviously at this point, they're thinking, they're not playing fast, they're not going to time.
And hold up, Kate. Nala has resist too. You can't clear this thing, right? You don't have the strength to do it.
Yeah.
I think Sky might just win.
If he wins,
Hold
that's...
on, wait
no,
a minute.
Yeah,
wait, hold on. I can't do basic mathematics. So
we
you have to
are...
excuse me.
Listen.
Nala is currently resist 2.
Yes.
Because of her unique ability.
Yes.
So Pete can put a hit on it.
So Pete can go ahead and deal
Hold
1.
up. And you still resist 1 because of the penny. You can't clear
Penny
this
says,
thing.
hey, guess what? That's my friend Nala.
Well, you have to send another 2-string character into it.
And so he's
That's
like, I did it.
1.
I don't take
Okay.
it back. I mean
and
it.
there it is. Okay.
And that will do nothing. They'll do nothing.
No, that
Oh.
has 2. No, so it loses the resist 1.
Oh,
it
there we
goes
go.
back
Yes,
to 2.
okay. So
cool.
that was good, but also that was 3 lore he probably wanted quite badly.
Yeah.
And now we do have still 6 on board. Now
And the Daisy
that's
Duck.
quite a lot of pressure. So that was a good play. He got around it. He just said, I can do math. Good news, guys. I've been playing this deck quite a lot.
Thoughts on sharking that? Sky is a scholar in general. I'm glad he didn't, but I know some
In what
people,
way? So the fact
because
that
he did declare that challenge with Tiana there, and I would have been like, nope, that's Tiana. Sorry, buddy. But I'm glad he didn't do that because we understand the vibes. We know what time it is. As we are going to do a little bit of board clearing there, leaving 4 lore on the board, and then we're going to get a quest in. If we're going to game number 3, okay.
Yeah,
We're going
so
to game 3. What I wanted, okay.
now, and it's interesting too, because we know sometimes people touch cards and they go, well, and they're like talking out loud, they're having fun, they're like, we're just buddies here.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know 100%. Judge Phil is sitting there. I mean, look at him, he's literally pacing. He's like,
Okay,
I see you.
okay.
So, shout out to our judges.
Absolutely.
They're like out there just, like, you know what I want to do this weekend? I want to help make things work.
Right, and that because I get
I'm
it.
not helping.
I love
I'm
coming
back
here
here.
because I love being. I'm an outgoing person. I love being here on the stream. I love broadcasting. This is my passion. I love engagement with the community. But the judges, they do it just for the love
They're like,
of
I
the
just
game.
wanna help.
They just want to help. I want to help people. I want to deal with people's problems, and I want them to have a good time. And that's a good point.
Oh, the shuffle. Sorry. I'm just looking at the shuffle, and that was like really rough to see. But he doesn't have any chances. Doug would never because he doesn't have any chances. But yikes, he did it like 4 times. But I did see Steve Warner shuffle his deck, which I think his deck is worth 4,000. It's worth the net.
It's worth more than 4,000.
He handed to me out of just. It should be in a lockbox.
He's riffle shuffling that deck too.
Yeah, wild.
He's got 4 iconic Mickeys, 4 iconic Minis. He's got 4 enchanted power lines. He's got 4 enchanted Auroras. The deck is completely maxed out. 4 enchanted Tianas are in there. Insane deck. He's just riffle shuffling like it's just.
And shout out to the riffle shufflers out there. They fear nothing. The cards are but paper to them.
Yeah.
But so let's talk a moment here. How do we get here? We started this tournament with 298 players from all over the land. Then we are now here at the finals. So we've fast forward a total of 9 rounds yesterday. We are on the 4th match today. So these players have been playing. This is 4 plus 9 is normally 13. So the 13th game they have played. Now some of them obviously got some ideas, but this has been a long journey. We are fighting for money. We're fighting for cards. We're fighting for really cool trophy. And most importantly, what's on the line in this game 3?
The trip to the national tournament. And you guys, if you paid attention to the last season, being in that national event is such an honor. It's such a beautiful tournament that they ran there, and it takes a lot to get there. It is not easy to qualify to enter into that tournament. It was very special last year. I can only imagine how it's going to get ramped up and be even more special this year. Win the national tournament or qualify in the national tournament to get to the world championship. That's how you get there. So this is step 1 in your journey. And if you are a competitive player, if you're in this chat right now and you think you have the mettle and the merits to be a pro player or a very competitive player, and you're not trying to get to the national tournament, then sad to say you're not a competitive player, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now I will say there's some anecdotes we have. Me and JDZ, we're on the road too. We're not Go Pro players, but we are Go casters. It doesn't work.
There you go.
But I will say that we casted a final very similar to the one like this. And I think it's notable to say that Sky is a player in the community that likes to build decks, and he's very generous with the deck. I think a nice aside is that we saw him play against his own deck in a finals down in Sharp Gaming.
Shout out to Sharp Gaming down there in Fort Smith, Arkansas. That was really cool to see. That was one of the coolest things I've seen.
It was wild. It was quite a story.
Sky had topped the day 1 event. Well, we got a little bit of time we can tell the story. Sky topped the day 1 event, had a great success with the Amber and Steel strategy there. Another young Illuminator was like, hey, I really like your deck. Can I have the list? He gives them the list very free and
Yeah, just like,
willingly,
here it is.
and some tips and tricks how to use the list. They run it back for the day 2 event, and they both meet in the finals against each other in a complete 100% mirror match.
Yes.
And the young Illuminator takes him down with his own deck.
He did buy him a single booster pack. He said, I got my dad's credit card. And that's not like a joke. I'm not trying to be funny. That's a real thing that happened.
It was, I believe the Illuminator was around 14, 15 years old.
Yes,
So
yeah,
was
he was
really,
4
really
years
cool.
old. His dad was there. But no, so shout out to players out there that build these decks. Shout out to the ones that share it. And this is exciting because either way, these are 2 players that love their deck, have stayed true to it. Like we said, Amber Steele went through a drastic emotional roller coaster this rotation. So shout out to Doug for clawing his way into this bubble, popping on top of it, and then saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to the finals. You know what? While I'm here, I might as well. So this is a thing where both players are inspirational to the community for being in this spot, and I can't wait to see who's the one that's going to be like, and now I'm going to be in the interview talking about my CCQ.
Yeah, talking about my trip to Nats and booking my Nats and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to play. And that relief, that sigh of that deep breath that you can take, like, oh man, I don't have to grind as hard anymore. Granted, I know Sky is truly built for this. He is on the road. I don't think he's going to stop, but theoretically you can't, let your hair down a little bit and relax because
Let
you
that
already
hair
got
down. Put it
to the finish line.
And so these are 2 players that are laser focused right now. You will see hints of smiles. You might see hints, but it is something where it was fun. They went back and forth, but now it is time to absolutely send it. I do believe someone just pointed. I mean, I'm trying to think through all things. I believe Sky mold 3, and then the other person did 7. Which the other person, Doug, is 7.
Back-to-back 7-piece on the altar.
Which we've seen this is a deck that's pretty kind. Aggro decks are one of the best aggro or situations to mold because you're like, well, if I didn't get the good stuff, it's got to be in there. I built, sometimes looking at these, I believe we're looking at least 12 usually in these decks, but generally more than that. So they know that they're sending back because they're like, well, statistically speaking, the good stuff's in there. I put it in there. Notably, Sky is running 12 1-cost characters while Doug is running 9. That's not how math works. 16 versus 12. So both of them are saying, I know I need to do stuff. I can't have my opponent have 1-drops and I don't. So here we go. We're starting with a lady down into the Inkwell, Aurora in the Aurora room at Aurora, Colorado for the Aurora matchup.
I love it. Maybe we get a back-to-back Aurora on Aurora opening as this pesky play with this sitting princess perched on her pedestal is ready to exert and present a Tiana down early. We haven't seen that line happen in this entire final matchup just yet, but maybe Sky will start it this time, and maybe Doug will get it. I don't know. I think that play is very obnoxious when it happens.
Yeah, I mean, somebody pointed out, they said, well, that last match is about who had the strength. And I think that's what we're going to see again.
Yeah.
Who's going to get those strength? Who's going to get those docks? Now, we did see that was incredible counterplay. I mean, it was crazy to see that Doug said, I have the Lorthal game on board, story on board. And Sky said, no, I have Lorthal on board, game on story on board. And it was a moment where we're like, is this happening? And the answer is it did happen. But that's kind of both players said, I'm ready for this. That's the kind of fun thing about a mirror match is both players like, I know these cards. I put them in my deck too.
And everyone was talking. I did see some people saying, hey, scoop, get out of here. It's over.
Crazy.
And you still had a chance, an outside game shot to potentially come back and win it. And you never give up, never give up attitude. And we do go Aurora versus
again,
Aurora.
the
Epic
power move.
Versus common thoughts.
I think that is I pulled one of those yesterday, and I went, oh, that's lovely.
Isn't that cute?
It's a lovely. I love the epics because honestly, I love opening booster packs and anything that makes me go, well, see, I actually did a good thing because I got an epic. So shout out. Now we do have R&B in the chat saying if Sky wins, he should shave his head. R&B, you are the bald man. We can't have 2 bald men on
Absolutely.
Mel Show.
I don't think Sky should shave this. He's got some of the best hair in the community. Very 2012 Bieber type energy there coming off the quaff. I like
He's
it.
going to make you a believer in Amber Steele.
And he pulls it off. We got the Aurora.
Aurora on turn 2. He says, I'm going to make you believe.
Do you believe it? Okay, we're not going to do
Either
that.
way, listen,
We're not
we
doing
got
that.
a whole,
Okay.
we don't know. This could go fast, could go slow. Now, are we going to get the lockstep? Are they going to join elbows and say, together we play, turn to Tiana? Maybe.
I think you would need that, and you need Sky to not have another play where you can put more characters down and sing strength. If we go Ink, Lady, character strength, I think it's done. I think that is the absolute backbreaker off the top rope as Doug is doing everything he can to hopefully those types of things don't happen as this Aurora is ready to exert. Do you have your Tiana here?
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting, right? Because, I mean, it's hard because when you have the good card, you do know you're like, Sky could absolutely strength it out of into the moon. So it's like I want to play that good card because he probably, statistically speaking, if you have 60 cards, only 4 of them are strength raging fire. Like, well, he probably doesn't, but you have a hand, and Sky's got some pretty hot draws. So I don't know. And this is a match that a lot of people are watching. We have over 1,152 players, and we have casters. We have Kawa and Spessy in here.
Kawa's in the building?
Kawa's in the building. Spessy's in the building. I think I saw Villain. It's literally...
Spessy's in the building?
Yes,
Villain's
Spessy
in the building? Yo, we got the whole EU gang is up here getting active.
We'll go to bed.
Getting loose. I had the fortunate pleasure of hanging out with Villain and Kawa
Oh, and Kimberly's here.
Ann in the building last week. It was so much fun to meet those incredible Illuminators. I cannot wait for them to bring that.
I can't wait.
I cannot wait to bring Bologna to life here in a few short weeks. And shout out to everyone who's here that's going to be there, and everyone in the chat that's going to be at the DLC in Bologna coming up very soon to start off this True Blue Disney Lorcana Challenge season. And it was really, really fun hanging out with them in Maryland last week.
Yeah, shout out to them for traveling. Shout out to them saying, I'm staying at my bedtime to watch my friends play. So I love them. I love seeing people succeed, and I can't wait to meet them. That's my favorite part. And I promise I will do my best to not try to speak back to you in a British accent, but no promises because I cannot help it. So...
For sure. Oh, some canopers. I'll take the canopers if you have them. Those things were
I'll
delectable.
take some digestives. I quite love a McVitie's digestive. But here we go. You know what my favorite price to pay for a card is? Free.
Free.
Yeah,
$3.99.
free.
I'll take a little
and
bit
he
of free.
says, I
Can't be
got
free.
to get the good cards, okay? I got to get the good ones.
And it is going to be that Mulan. And she is a princess, but I don't think she's nearly as potent and or powerful as the Tiana here
this
in
is
this
just
situation.
a survival thing right at this point, right? Now, is it, with Tiana, I believe it's any princess, right? So, I mean, technically, well, okay. So, here we go. It's only the first one, it sounds like. So, you can't just play princesses free forever. It's the next.
Yeah, it's the next one for the Aurora. But I'm saying, like, the Tiana here still staring down these double Mulan. You're going to cycle send two Nalas out to pasture. They're into the discard pile. Maybe you have some inkability issues there in hand.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something where he knows he has to build for this middle of the game kind of situation. He knows Sky's going to want to go wide. He knows Sky's going to be problem city. So this is a smart move for him. He's going to get one lore. He got the cards hopefully he needs. And he got a Daisy, which never hurts. You know, no one's ever said, you know what, Daisy is not that good. So yeah. We are going to go ahead and see what Sky's going to do here. Is he going to also say, I want to go wide? Is he going to use this Aurora? What does he have in this hand?
I think if you can make that really, really powerful play of play lady, play character, sing strength, I think that'd be really cool to pull off here to maybe blast that Daisy Duck before it can do some damage. Or you can maybe send some characters into this Aurora here and clear her since she's exerted. Or maybe you can start the quest.
Yeah.
You got a lot of this game might be simple. These aggro matchups might be simple, but on the surface they're simple. When you take it to the next level, when you're at the final table of the first CCQ, they get very, very complex. And these decisions are lasting.
Yeah, I mean, I always think about it kind of like a web where you have your decision tree, right? You're at this point, you're like, I could do this, this, and this. And you're thinking about, well, what are they doing? So it's a double decision tree where you're reacting to decisions that you don't even know they're going to make. Now, I do think that Tiana, she's the only singer eligible right now on board. So she could sing a strength if you so choose to do that. Now, she needs more friends if she plans to do that. Here we go. We got Aurora questing, and we are going to just go off to the races with second Tiana.
Second Tiana. Uh-oh.
That is interesting here. So that was only 2 to pay for that Tiana because we have that Aurora. And then why not get that Daisy here? And then we're questing. We don't need to sing because, honestly, he says, my board's kind of scary now, too. So do you have some strength? You have no Tiana. You need strength at this point.
I think this match might come down to who is going to keep this board massive and who is going to blast the other with strength. If someone can get into these strength wars, who plays it first, who plays it second might also be the story. Maybe one player gets 2 strengths, and I think that might be that blowout formation. Also, these docks. We're going to see those docks get chained together here soon. As Penny goes down into the inkwell, we see a strength of raging fire. It's going to be Hardcast taking down one of those Tianas.
Yeah, and I would like to point out here, we have Kimberly and the fellow caster in the chat saying double Tiana. This man played 4 Tianas in the semifinals. Insane business, but it's augmentive, right? The effect of the Tiana goes up. So that is why Doug says, absolutely not. If I see 4 Tianas, I am calling FEMA. I got to get out of here. So he gets rid of one of the Tianas and says, we're not going to have a disaster like last time. But there's still problems,
but
right?
Are you going questing? No.
I think that Aurora's got to go. Aurora's done too much. She's done too much here. She did 3. She got Tiana in. But I think Mulan is a great choice here. She's not really doing much after that, but she is helping the strength. Does he have more?
And this might even be a great point, Katie, that you bring up. Is clearing that Aurora to maybe weaken Sky's potential strength of a Raging Fire clapback, as just getting characters off the board at this critical moment might be well worth it. If you do just quest all, you could set up yourself for an unfavorable exchange with the Mulan here that you can take it back in combat. So these are the decisions you have to think about. I agree with you, though. Clearing any character that you can might be in your best interest.
Yeah. Yeah, more characters, more problems. That Mulan is surprisingly the strongest one in the room right now. She's like, I hit for 2 with the 2 strength. So not incredible, but it's something where
I can imagine Mulan sounding like that, though.
yeah, hi guys. But yeah, this is something where everybody's being very mindful of how they're using their resources in this exact moment. So we are in the tank. I do you prefer it's the think tank or the battle tank?
I like to say the thought vault.
The thought vault. Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
I've
sorry.
been working that one in.
That,
The think tank, the tank. Okay, we're tanking. I get the
we're
think
tanking.
tank.
I'm tanking.
Okay. I say
I
mind
like
palace
battle
as well.
tank. I get into the think tank and then I battle through. So here we go. We got Aurora saying I will go ahead and
I like mind palace as well.
my
That's
mind palace.
like Sherlock Holmes there. I go to my mind palace and kind of and figure it out. But you are going to quest those glimmers there, and you're going to get those Mulans. You can, in fact, clear both of those Mulans with the characters that you have available. Granted, that cannot be the most optimal maneuver. Let's see how Sky breaks this thing down as you lost quite a bit of your board there. In that
Yeah,
spot.
he says, don't make me break this thing down for nothing. I am your player. So we're about to see. It's so I love this deck because you're able to do so much in a turn. It sometimes we'll look away because we're like, I'm having fun, and then I look back and they're still thinking and doing because there's not a lot of ink, there's not a lot of cards, and the things they're able to do with 3 ink and like 3 cards. I'm like, stop! What are you doing over there? So Doug is feeling confident. He is able to match Sky's board, but Sky is not a guy you can ever count out because he has played this deck a lot, and he says we're going to start just seeing what I can dig, which is not super inspiring. It's a little scary to see because he's looking for something, but he can find it, and then it's a little scary from there.
And questing that Daisy Duck and showing that lady off the top, this thing can get absolutely experimental next turn, depending on what Doug has. I like to, in this matchup in particular, I like to look at the player who has the most characters on the board. Okay?
Yeah, it's easy, right? That's the thing we can see.
That's who's probably going to be in control and probably going to ultimately win. So you have a character that's just been added for free via Daisy Quest, and it's going to be able to bring another character into the fray that's going to be even more problematic. Granted, Doug does not have that certified singer set up just yet. This could be bad for Sky, but he's still in a pretty okay spot.
And that's one of the fun things about mirrors. And somebody said this, Snobby, you guys might know him. He was a wonderful judge and friend of the community and to all Lorcana players. He pointed this a masterclass in the mirror, and this is a mirror you're going to want to watch because if you're somebody that's like, I'd like to play this deck, then you are going to have to know how to do this matchup. And we do see a Tiana being discarded off the Mulan. We see a Nala go down. We have 1 card in hand. I'm going to assume it's a dock because it always seems to be with this rascal here. But this is it's a response, and it's a measured response because now we have 4 characters on the board. Now, who has the most valuable one? I see a Tiana, and I see a Nala. Those 2 are pretty high value characters.
And Sky is at 8, which is a lot more than 0, and he is presenting a lot of questing power on the board. So putting Doug in these compromised positions to where he has to begin to figure out a way to engage, because if you don't do anything and you're playing these ladies and you put these characters on the board, you're not singing strings, you are going to eventually lose the game. Because how much is he putting back? That's 3, 5, 7, 9, 7, 8 coming back your way, putting you up to 16 if you can't clear any of these characters. And right now, Katie, I don't think you can do it.
Yeah, Mulan's like, I have to do all of this? And that's, my goodness. So these are my favorite kind of matches because we call them swingy matches. Now, one player has what I would call more than 1 card in hand, and that's one of the things about going wide that can be frustrating. Is you're like, I'll just go wide and it'll be fine, but you need cards. That's why I'm like, is that Doc? Please tell me. Blink once if Doc. He's not blinking. He never would. And Doug is saying, well, I've got a lot of cards. So I'm very interested to see what cards they are. He's not slapping them down. He's taking his time doing the poker shuffle, and only time will tell, but they are not going to rush, guys. This is on time. This is the finals. This is for all the marbles. By the marbles, I mean a nationals invite. The first one ever given out at a CCQ, and the first one, quite frankly, for this whole season.
Yeah, this is the first one. This is the test. So it's been a really, really cool event. A lot of great things have happened. I think the meta is in a nice, comfortable spot. I love the decks that we have available, and I like the fact that skill is still being able to be expressed here, even at the top tables, as Doug is deep in the think tank, a.k.a. the thought vault, a.k.a. the brain palace, as you are pondering a conundrum that you are in, as if Sky were to come back next turn, ready these characters, and just quest these glimmers, slam a dock, play more characters, you're going to be in trouble, and I'm sure Doug has to see that as a potential realistic situation.
And it shows how swingy these decks can be, because in the chat we have people simultaneously say Sky's losing and winning, and that's like the most magical thing about having this, is because you're looking at that card, you're like, well, it could be a Nala, it could be another Mulan, and in that case, bad, but it could be a dock, and then it could dock into just 5,000 other problems. So it's something where we don't know 100% until we start seeing these cards come down. Doug is doing the think right here, because he knows that Sky is not somebody you want to say, oh, don't worry, he doesn't have it, because they say they always have Doc. We've seen matches this weekend, but guess what? I'm so sorry they didn't have Doc. But this is not the time I want to take that bet. And here we go, free Pete, which
that's
is
brutal.
rough.
Pete is kind of good too, because you could potentially break up a strength play that you could set up this turn if you were to keep this board intact. Quest for that 8, slam the Pete, and then that could be it. I'm not
It's
sure.
it's a survival technique, right? Because I mean, they don't always have the strength, they don't always have the Doc, but a Pete is a nice little insurance policy saying, you know, I'm going to protect myself. In the worst case scenario, I have something that can sing, I have something that can beat down for 3. So Pete is a great card to have here, and he's inkable. It's all around not the best, not a game winning card right off the top, but could really help win the game.
Absolutely. And Doug's still going through all those permutations right now. The finger tap, the little mathematics, arithmetic, running the numbers, seeing if you can get it done, knowing that Pete may be inbound next turn. We'll ink that lady.
Does he have the strength? That's a big question, and he has the spin.
Oh, my goodness, the spin is humongous there, as it's able to come and ready the Tiana and be able to not have to pay that toll. I love a little spin right there.
Yeah,
from Doug.
And Sven we talk about it a lot as a way to protect your own characters, but I have not seen that used many times to change them out. Tiana needs to be exerted. A lot of these cards that you need to be exerted the whole time for this effect to go in.
Yeah.
And Sven said, hey, you want to get ready? And it's crazy. It's crazy to see that used. Now, is it enough to completely win the game? I don't know. And I think he was making that calculation too. He was saying, like, I want to do this. I don't think I could do it a lot. I don't believe the deck has 4 Svens. I'll look right now. He does have 4 Svens, but still.
Man.
That is a very powerful play.
That is a sneaky maneuver. Notably, Sven does say when you play this character, you may ready chosen character, not one of your chosen characters. So getting Tiana from exerted to ready will bypass her unique ability and be able to send those Mulan into a challenge, into that Daisy Duck, take some more off the board, and also put a pretty decently static character on board. But you're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, shout out to Out of the Woods.
You saw what I did there?
Yeah, I do like it. Christoph says,
I'm
thank
digging.
you.
I went hard on that one. No one's giving me-
yeah.
They don't love me, man.
They do. The chat literally, I don't think the chat ever, like, everything always goes back to NJDZ. We all look at, it's like a lot of chatter, and then you all hear the voices go, NJDZ is best. So shout out to real winner here. But that was an expensive thing, because at the end of the day, he did have to throw 2 of his characters. Those characters, it's kind of all these, it's kind of, you win some, you lose some, in the sense that you win the fact that you got that Sven and you got that Tiana out of the board, but you lost 2 characters, which those characters are very important for strength. Now, the strength is interesting because we see Sky had a Pete. We know he had 1 card in hand. He got a Pete. He just got another card. And so he is doing the exact same thing Doug said, where I have limited resources. I have to play against everything I know could happen in my deck and everything I think Doug might be up to. Doug just showed he's not sleeping. He's awake. Ooh.
And we will bring down the bodyguard Pluto here, which could get Sven again. You spin me once, shame on you. Spin me twice, I won't get Sven again. But if you spin and Tiana, you can't protect them both, right? I mean, if Pluto does protect Tiana, Tiana protects the Sven.
It's not
or the Pluto.
It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of Sven. Is what they say. So we will see if that happens. But either way, that would be kind of crazy in this situation. But he's going to go ahead and quest out for a nice, cool 6 on board, going up to 12, 14. That's not how math works. And then Doug is in a situation he was in last time, right? He wants to get up 2. That's his whole goal, is to get to 20 lore. Sky now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on board, which 7 plus 14, folks, that is always going to be 21.
And there it is, Mr. Arrow going down to the inkwell. It is the Doc. That's a sad Doc, still a Doc nonetheless. You're going to kick Tiana and Mulan down into the discard pile. You do have a certified singer that can jam out a Strength of Raging Fire here. You have enough willpower to be able to actually check that. You have enough ink, you can hard play it as well, but you probably didn't get to it as you sent 2 cards for 2 cards. This is looking really good for Sky.
The amount of times I've seen in the chat people say GG, the amount of times, and like it hasn't been GG, because, but I've seen it both sides, right? Like Doug will be playing like GG Sky, and then Sky plays like GG Doug, and it's very,
but it's GG.
It was a real GG, and what a match that was. Seeing the cards used, look at that smile, look at that 2 players who played their hearts out and showed that this deck is, did he have Doc?
And he did have the Doc.
That's
he does
sneaky sneaker, and that's
Doc.
why, guys, you don't trust these Amber Steel players. They're always playing Docs.
Absolutely, and very well played by Sky, coming in and becoming your first